Hey, Jim here from K2 Concepts, shooting the second of our jig series on how to build jigs and how to adapt them to what we do. The first video I showed you guys what tools you guys need. So if you haven't watched that video, go back, watch that video, get your tools together, get them in your arsenal, because these are basic tools that you're going to need to make jigs and adapt them to what we need them to use them for. Alright, this is kind of going to show you why we do some jigs. Okay, this is a Banshee tank. Now it's pretty stable right now with our jig in there. So I'm going to pull that out and just kind of show you guys how flexible and floppy it gets without this little piece of PVC in there. So you can see now that it's a little bit tough to hold, a little harder to control if you're dipping or clearing. So we built our own jig. Now this one you probably could have got away with just a round piece of PVC, cut the length. So I would have cut it to the proper length in here and then just drilled what we call lap screws. These got a little bit bigger heads on them. I kind of like to use these things because it's got a little more surface area. They are still self-tapping, so they'll go easily into PVC, but you could have used just a regular piece of PVC. So you don't need to heat up your PVC and bend it each and every time. You may find it easier to buy existing parts in that PVC section, like this. We use these for holding some dashes that we do for manufacture. So you can see these are all off the part. These are T's and 90s, and we drilled some self-tappers into the 90s to hold the parts on these. So there wasn't any heat applied, and we weren't, this is not too difficult. Again, you want to use T's instead of 90s because the T's will allow the water to flow out and evaporate, whereas your 90s will tend to trap the water and it'll come out in the worst inconvenient time. Here's another PVC jig that we built to hold 3 separate parts that are a little bit larger, but we just hot glue it to the parts. These are reducers. So again, no heating, we're just using off-the-shelf parts that are pretty inexpensive. And again, using T's instead of 90s, both to stabilize this way, but also to let water flow out. So I got that. But if you do need to heat up the part, we're going to give you a simple exercise this time around. And next time we'll start getting to bending and forming. So the simple exercise is for you guys to heat up a part and then squish it, or heat up the PVC and squish it. So you can make these jigs, and they tend to stabilize the parts a little bit better. So we're going to take just a practice piece of 1/2" PVC, schedule 40. I don't like to use schedule 20. It's just a little thin for my liking. Doesn't seem to be as strong, so we're going to use schedule 40. So if you were watching the last video, you would know that you need a propane torch, a striker, and a 6" vise, bench vise. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up, and then I'm going to squish it to form this. Really easy exercise. So let's get started. All right, got propane on. You don't need a lot of heat. All right, so crank it down to where it's barely going. And then what you're going to do is you're going to keep the flame moving over the PVC, and then you'll slowly start to see it deform. You got to keep the heat moving, otherwise it's going to get brown. You're going to burn it. So it's kind of a test. When we used to do this for electrical conduit, the gray PVC, if you burn it, you're a rookie. So that was kind of a little challenge we used to do. But anyhow, keep the flame moving. Alright, and going back and forth, and you will start to see at the end, right in here, the PVC is going to start flaring out a little bit. So it is actually starting to move out, and then what we're going to do is we are going to squish this. Now you can see it, so you can almost see it start to deform. Now the gravity's working against it. Alright? So it's flexible, nice and flexible. Alright. And then what we're going to do is go down here to our vise. And I've got about 1 inch marked here in the vise, so I know how far to go in. And you can see it's rubbery. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squish this about 1 inch in. And don't got a hammer on it, just squish it tight. Now what you have to remember is, now it's flexible, so make sure that if you want to keep this straight, that you think about that in the vise. If you just do like this, it's going to come out with a bend in it. So the exercise is to keep it straight and then spray it with water. The water will cool it down pretty quick. Okay. And then you can feel it, it's solidifying, and back it out, and there you go. You have that squished part. And you can see it kind of almost not, maybe I pulled it a little bit this way, not quite 100% sure, but close enough. But that's your exercise. So gradually heat up the PVC until you can see that it's starting to be flexible. Get it in the vise, squish it flat, and then what you can do is cut the other end and squish that flat. But that's just a training exercise for you guys. The next video, what we're going to do is show you guys how to bend contours with it pretty easily. And then also we're going to set up a jig to where you can use it to bend consistent jigs for multiple parts. Say you need to build 10 and they should all be pretty much the same. We're going to show you guys how to build that too. So that's it for this one. A little Tecate for the haters on Friday. Should be a Corona, but whatever. Join us on the forum, k2forums.com. You can email me, k2forums@gmail.com. Questions, comments, leave them below. If you guys need activator guns, visit us on k2shoponline.com. And that's it for this one. I hope you guys are having a good day dipping. We'll talk to you later.